What's good, y'all? You dub back here again. We are here in 2020. I hope y'all having a beautiful new year. Like I said in another video, I'll let New Year, kind of like a presidential administration or sports season. I kind of let it go a little while before I see how good it really is, if is it good or bad and whatnot. But I'm hoping that this decade will be a beautiful one and great for everybody. All right. So y'all like, wait a second. Wonder, one of the first videos of the year you are doing is Sanji's fighting style, the black leg style. Now, I did a video, I believe, against was it Sanji versus Rock Lee. It was a classic deathmatch discussion, so had to do that one there. But over the last few days, I was thinking about different things, and I have other martial arts videos to attend to. But one channel I recently got on, Ramsey Dewey, does a phenomenal job for the most part. Sometimes I disagree with him, but for the most part, it's a really good content. It's a different perspective coming from a professional fighter and coach. He was asked a question about savate, which is loosely translated to French kickboxing. Okay. And there's a lot more to it, but that's loosely what it's based on. And of course, if you know One Piece, you know fighting styles, Sanji, that's a part of it. But the reality is, Sanji's blackleg style has intrigued me for years. Now, some people like, dude, you hate Sanji? Are you not a fan? Listen, bro, just because I'm not openly a fan, or I'm not, that's not one of my favorite characters, or just because I don't really hype him up, does not mean I don't respect him, doesn't mean I don't find aspects of him interesting. There are several characters in Bleach that I wanted to have completed characters. I'm definitely not a fan of Ichigo, Kurosaki Ichigo, but I wanted Ichigo's character to be finished. Zaraki Kenpachi, I'm not a fan, but I wanted his character to be finished. Same thing with, to a lesser degree, with Hitsugai Toshiro, wanted his character to be finished. And I could go with other characters. That's the thing that people don't understand about being objective. There are aspects about One Piece. For example, I literally hate Wapple's character, but every time he's reintroduced into the story, I know it's big because Oda's actually using him. So for a character I can't even stand, Stelly or whatever his name is the same thing in One Piece. Can't stand. Those are the two characters. Wapple and Stelly can't stand their characters. But, and Flampe is probably a close third. But I understand that Oda knows how to utilize characters I can't even stand. So, Sanji. Let's talk about the blackleg style and what it really is and what it really ain't. The blackleg style is something, can it be used? Yes. It is limited, though. It's more limited than boxing. It's more limited than pretty much any martial art. But in its limitations and in its simplicity, Sanji becomes an absolute monster. And you wonder, what the hell are you talking about? Welcome to the paradoxical nature of the martial arts. Okay, so this is where this gets fun for me. All right. So, why was the black leg style invented? Why? Red Leg Zeph, who was a cook, taught Sanji as a young cook to a chef, your hands are your most precious tools. Okay? Protect them at all costs. Now, we're part of the fighting cooks, so you're going to have to be able to fight while protecting your most valuable treasure. This is imperative because I'm going to do a breakdown of practically, I may do it of all the Straw Hats fighting styles, but I know I'm definitely going to get to Zoro and Luffy's, because especially Luffy's is fascinating. But you see, Luffy and Zoro have different philosophies when it comes to fighting, and different goals, different ideals when it comes to fighting. So it will entail that they do things differently. Also, Sanji, the whole thing about chivalry, about not hitting a woman and things of that nature. Now you could go, wait a second. Kicks are supposedly, the leg strikes are supposedly 3 times more powerful than blows to the fist. I'm going to get to that in a second. But keep that in mind. Kicks actually are beautiful for Sanji for so many reasons. So Sanji takes this in mind, and he learns to powerful kick. He was also, we learned back in Whole Cake Island, trained a bit with, Germa when he grew up. But he also learned how to punch. So he had a small basis for fighting to begin with because of his upbringing. But then he got locked away and he was not good at a young age. So how do you get from a not good young son, little boy Sanji, to a monster of what Sanji became? Because you're sitting back and going, wait a minute here. So Zeph teaches him not to strike with his hands and whatever. But wait, the other chefs did that. They, as far as I know, they fought with their hand. They were fighting crew, but their hands were important. Sanji surpassed them. First step, mentality. Sanji's mentality was different from everybody else in the Baratier. Okay? Because he valued what Zeph, his teacher, and we know the backstory about Zeph. And maybe the whole thing about Zeph's leg being gone might have even further triggered this evolution into Sanji, to where he wanted to be the successor to his sensei, to his master, Zeph-san. So all of these elements go into how you fight. Okay? Not a single fighter just haphazardly chooses his fighting style or her fighting style. It's you're trained in that as a youth. It's your experiences in life, street fights and otherwise. It's why are you doing what you're doing? Your motivation. For me, I have a natural mixed martial arts style because of my unorthodox nature and in view on fighting and my philosophy of combat. Okay, so I have a natural mixed martial arts style that's part survival, part understanding of various styles, of various concepts. And so it bleeds into my own unique style. So, Sanji's style, okay? Let's look at it, right? What is Sanji, how does he fight? Does he ever use his hands? Why doesn't he use a weapon? Sanji, not only is he not trying to hurt women, protect his valued treasure hands, value the legs because of Zeph. What also? There's another thing. Sanji wants to save lives. Not in some Dr. Chopper, not no Tony Chopper way. Not on Surgeon of Death, the irony, Trafalgar Deepwater Law. But Sanji he's a cook, he's a chef. He wants to feed people, he wants to save lives. So Sanji's not looking to have a lethal fighting style. When Oda, it was interesting because a lot of people took offense and are like, well, duh, Oda, why are you showing us more of the same with the Whole Cake Island? When it says Sanji's actually kind. And Luffy played on that with the whole thing, Luffy versus Sanji, which wasn't a fight. It was if it was anything, it was a philosophical encounter. But Luffy, probably one of Luffy's most impressive moments, if I'm being honest, from his character, from as a man, was it was the same thing as but different on what he did with Bellamy, to where Luffy didn't fight back. And he let Sanji lash out, but he understood. It was on some Dr. King status, honestly. Some could say I'm giving too much credit for Luffy. No, y'all need to stop being disrespectful. Sanji's not looking to be lethal. Now, could I believe that Sanji could kill? Absolutely. Come on now. The same way Zoro could kill, the same way Luffy can kill? Absolutely could he kill. But he's not looking to be lethal, which once again all plays into his fighting style. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with Taekwondo, Tengsudo, Karate, Capoeira, Muay Thai, and whatnot, leg strikes. Let me tell y'all something. It is far easier to throw a punch than it is to kick. Yes, can you generate more power in kicks? Absolutely. Is that a hell of a lot more difficult and a hell of a lot more difficult to land? Absolutely. With a punch, boom. You bring it back. That's the jab. The jab is the universal strike, by the way. The front kick ain't universal. The side kick ain't universal. And more. Also, you give up disadvantage. You can be swept out from your leg. You can be, you can be caught off guard. Your leg can be caught. It's a lot easier to catch a leg than it is to catch a punch. Tell y'all that right now. So all of that. So Sanji, by his very nature, and the way he views the world is a hell of a lot more technical as a fighter than Zoro and Luffy. Now that's not a bad thing on either side. Being more technical comes with its advantages and disadvantages. For example, David Eagle. If you're a fan of Hajime no Ippo, you know David Eagle lost, even though he should have defeated Takamura. The thing is, David Eagle relied too much on textbook technique. Okay, so there is a balance that you have to have. So Sanji hones his skills and he focuses on and takes all of this in his perspective and embodies, he emblazons, he bold, and he in his mind, this is how I'm going to fight. When you make that decision as a fighter, when you make that decision in life, that is a powerful thing. This is what I'm going to do. The human mind, the willpower hockey, anybody? You're going to focus and you're going to be a monster. Okay? Now, understand your capacity and what you're capable of doing. But if you know it's something you can do and it's something that you love, and if you have a reason for doing it, that's a very powerful thing. It doesn't mean you will always succeed, but what it does is Sanji, now you went from little boy Sanji to grown man Sanji. Because Sanji, in his mind, he has a reason for doing what he did. He was feeling mandatory when he was a child. Now he's doing it out of love. Okay? So, we have this kicking style. And Zeph doesn't just say, this is how you should kick. He was not dogmatic. Zeph just gave him the blueprint. And this is how a chef can be a damn pirate, even though Sanji he's not really, if you think about it, he's not really a pirate, but this is how he could be a pirate. So Zeph was about freedom. And so Sanji worked on all kinds of kicks. And just kicks. No punches, no grappling. Keep you away. Now, understand the power that what kicks do. Okay? Kicks allow you to find range. They allow you to keep at range. Kicks allow you to provide power, but control. If you know someone who's a great kicker, they can break trees, break ribs, break you. Okay? Or they can do a little baby tap. So it's the most control. Again, for a man who's not trying to be lethal, kicks can be great. You can do a snap kick, you can do a full roundhouse, you can do a side, you can do a lot of power in kicks. And I felt that. But you can also do it to where you just tap somebody and point kick. And there's sports that you can go into. So what does Sanji do? We come out seeing Sanji using some savate practices, but he doesn't box. So it's not truly savate. What else does he use? He uses capoeira. When he does that spinning table thing, that's a capoeira style that Oda improvised. But that's not all. He uses similar but different taekwondo attacks, because taekwondo can punch, yes, but you're not really focused on punching. But he doesn't take a taekwondo stance. Sanji is a master kicker. That's honestly what the black leg style is. It is the mastery of kicking. It's the mastery of footwork, and not in the footwork of just movement. Literally, Sanji, I would be hard pressed to find someone in fiction who's better with leg work, with as far as in kicking fighting style than Sanji is. I don't think there's anybody better. He's kind of like Zoro. Zoro was already a master. Sanji was already a master when he gets to. So by the end of the series, this dude's going to be a grandmaster, and he's going to be an absolute monster. And it doesn't seem like that. And I don't hype up Sanji, but when I look at it, Sanji takes all the kicking elements of every martial art. I just named three. It's every martial art. Um, except for karate, because karate, again, its foundation is different. Um, but I'll just, those three. Even if he was just a master of those three, then he masters all kicking, because much of those are focused on kicking. American kickboxing, you name it. This dude Sanji can do the kicking game. And it's pretty incredible that he figured it out on his own. Same thing with Luffy. It's pretty incredible, to be honest with you. It is a mastery. The black leg style is a mastery of kicking. And the reason I said all of that is to truly understand a fighting style, you have to understand the psychology and the philosophy behind the fighting style. There's always a philosophy behind the fighting style, behind the martial art. Okay? If you want to become a great wrestler, a great grappler, a great karateka, judoka, a great boxer, understand the philosophy of what you're going for. Muhammad Ali did, Iron Mike Tyson did, Lennox Lewis, you name it. Conor McGregor has his own philosophy when it comes to his fighting style. I'm sure Khabib has his own, Brock Lesnar, Daniel Cormier, you name. Bruce Lee, very well known for philosophy, in which led to his Jeet Kune Do. Okay. And if you wanted me to say, I've asked for Sanji, if he's not going to use his hands, at least use weapons. I still at the same time I think it will come to a head. And, there's the whole thing about his raid suit. So Oda's kind of addressing that question. So it'll be very fascinating to see for his character. Because before I understand his limitations, but now the fact that they're in the new world, the fact that you're the future Pirate King's crew, will you have to take some of those limitations off Sanji in order to truly advance who you are as a person? And for Sanji, his advancement as a person is his advancement in his fighting style. That's what you also see, even though we never got an explanation as to why he can do the Diablo Bajambe. That's kind of what happened. It was an evolution of person. And we see Hell's Memories. Every time we see with Sanji, it's an evolution of person. And you get an evolution of person, you get more power from Sanji. Even the whole thing about Raid Suit is an evolution of person. On a technological external is the battle of what's going on internally because of his whole trauma with his family. So it's a very fascinating thing. And again, this is me saying this before we see the complete story of Sanji's character, but Sanji's Black Leg style embodies his views, his ideals. Could his style be effective? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. In both a non-lethal and a very lethal way. I mean, we see the dude, he can kick through steel. But he can do it enough to beat you up a little bit. Sanji has complete control. He's very technical. You know. He's able to go against people who are physically stronger than him. He's not weak, but he showcases, and his body type is what you see from a lot of kickers, to be able to do very finesse, very, very finesse, but very strong at the same time. Plus, speed equals power in Sanji's speed. And of course, you can bring in Skywalk, again, mastery of legs. He just did that. He just runs on air, and Blue Walk as well, mastery of kick. Sanji, if this was a martial arts series or whatever, Sanji would be we would see insane kicking feats and insane jumping feats. And oh, speaking of jump, we jump high. Samurai Jack, one of my all-time favorite episodes of Samurai Jack was when they taught him how to jump high. Was it the monkeys and the ape man dude? I love that episode. It brings a smile on my face every time I watch it. Unexpected one to like, comment, subscribe. Tell me your thoughts. And any other specific martial arts that you see that Sanji uses, we can discuss that. What are your thoughts on Sanji's fighting style? Do you like it? Is that one of the reasons you like his character? Do you think it needs evolution? I still say he can evolve. I do agree with that. But I appreciate his fighting style for what it is. Okay, it's very unique. You don't see this. Do we see other kickers? Yes, but we don't see what Sanji brings. He can do any kicking style, dude. It's insane. It's when you sit back and really appreciate, you take away whether your likes or dislikes. What Sanji does is insane, and it kind of explains, like, bro. The question is, bro, Sanji. Yes, he's not regular, but Sanji, how are you able to compete with these powerful dudes? Sanji is he's becoming a grandmaster at a young age. like Zoro is, like Luffy is. That's part of the reason they're absolute monsters and why they're so powerful without seeming explanation. And every fight, Zoro said it, every fight makes them more powerful. It's the Dragon Ball concept, the sharpening the mastery. Tough does this. Hajime no Ippo does this. Pretty much every martial arts series does this. Holy Land, Baki, all do this. The more experience you have makes you better, sharper, makes you understand yourself, your opponent, and the world around you at a much higher level. And your growth as a person causes growth in your style. If your style becomes stagnant and stale, it's because you're not growing, you're not learning, you're not pushing yourself to the limit. Push it to the limit. All right, y'all. Have a beautiful day, beautiful night. Peace. Be safe out here this new year, and I hope everyone has a blessed new year, and hopefully this is a phenomenal decade for everyone.